Listen, we have a great show lined up for you. I'm your host, Kim Jacobs, better known as the Balance Doctor. And all of our guests that come on, they're either people that have overcome some tremendous odds in their own lives as they balance this thing called life, or they're experts and they're here to share tips and strategies that will help you better balance and manage your life. Grab your virtual seats and let's get ready for some real relevant and relatable content on today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show. Hello, and yes, Happy New Year. It is the first Freestyle Friday of 2025. How are you all today? Hey, Natasha.
Hey, Happy New Year. I am fantastic.
I can tell you don't went and got your hair did. You got your new glasses. You can't tell you nothing over there, you know? You look good. All right.
Thank
hey,
you.
D. Brown, how are you?
I'm doing well over here. Definitely had a, should I say, a New Year and birthday as well.
A birthday, yes. And I had the privilege of celebrating your birthday with you because you came to our church service on your birthday.
Happy belated birthday.
Congratulations. Your skin looks so vibrant. And you know how people say, oh, you look good or whatever. But no, I'm saying you look so well rested and moisturized and glowing. It's like God is just beaming through you. This is
well, thank you, because I did have a skin treatment too.
Nice.
I didn't even know that. See, all I know is that it's just really standing out on the screen. And guys, in the studio audience, feel free to type your comments. Let us know where you're visiting in from. Did you enjoy your holiday as well? Tell us some things maybe you did over the holiday that was fun and memorable. We'd love to hear it. Today, we are talking about how to achieve our goals in 2025. We are not going to delay because it's this hour. Believe it or not, it goes fast, doesn't it, Natasha and Sharon?
Absolutely.
Oh, and there's so much happening. So again, any topics you all ever want to talk about on Freestyle Friday, just shoot us a message. Let us know, hey, can we talk about this? We love to talk about things that matter the most to you. It's very important. But we always come with the topic ready to go. But throw any ideas you have, and we definitely will chime in on those subject matters as well. So as we get started, I want to, first of all, tell you that Natasha Halliday is our mental health expert.
Hello, all.
What does that mean? Natasha, tell everybody what it means to be the mental health expert here on the Kim Jacobs Show.
It means that I bring 20 plus years of experience working in the mental health sector to all the wonderful topics that we talk about on Freestyle Friday. So looking at how do we think about our mental well-being and our mental health as it applies to a variety of topics. That's what I bring every time I show up.
And you bring it very well. And I'm saying, if you all are struggling with some type of mental issues, and even if you don't want to call it that, because people never want to call it, I'm struggling with mental issues, but we all have things. And it's not you or me or them or they or anything like that. This is a blessing to all of us to be able to learn how to better maintain our sanity. And whether it's about you need mental therapy or a therapist or a psychologist or a psychiatrist, it's way beyond that. It's what can I do on a daily basis to just be better in embracing things that could try to throw me off mentally. I have Natasha Halliday who can tell us how to not let it tip you over the deep end. It's huge. It's a huge blessing to have this woman here on the Kim Jacobs Show. So thank you, Natasha. Okay, Sharon D. Brown. She is our self-carepreneur expert. So Sharon, tell everybody what that looks like for you being an expert here on the Kim Jacobs Show.
Yeah. For me, as being a self-carepreneur, it's pretty much, as the word said, is taking care of yourself as an entrepreneur. And I myself have been in the mental health field for over 20 years. And one thing that I have seen is that, y'all, we don't take care of ourselves like we should. And so it is my mission, and especially for entrepreneurs and leaders. And one of the reasons that I chose them to be more of my client base is because they impacts so many people. And so I really feel like because they have access to their employees, to the community, that for them to be able to take care of themselves, then other people will be taken care of, because of the fact, if we don't know what self-care is for our mental health, because that's what it's all about at the end of the day. Everything that you do is either going to boost you or it's going to demote you in a sense, you know? And so I just want people to really have that in their forefront, because at the end of the day, if we're not taking care of ourselves, it impacts our work and our life. And so that's the gist of what I do.
Well, you do it mighty well. And again, she covers everything from your skincare and your personal care stuff, but then she also talks even from a financial perspective of how you can just you cover every aspect of self-care. Because self-care is way beyond just our stuff that we put as far as makeup and nails and toes and stuff like that. This woman covers the gamut. So I am super glad that you're here on the Kim Jacobs Show. I don't always get a chance to highlight them at that level of detail. We just jump right into our topic. But I said, you know what? Let's slow our roll. When I have other guests come on, you get to learn their backstories. You learn a lot about who they are, and then you start following them on their social media platforms. Well, I have experts that come on every Friday here on the Kim Jacobs Show, and I want you to stay connected with them. So, Natasha, tell people how they can even stay connected with you. We're going to get into the topic today, y'all. Don't worry. But I want people to follow you outside of on these Fridays when you come on. Tell them.
Well, as it says with my name, I'm at Natasha A. Halliday. So NATASHA I'm on Instagram at Natasha A. Halliday. I'm on LinkedIn at Natasha A. Halliday. My website is natashahalliday.com. It tells all the wonderful things that I do, and people can get in touch with me through any of those means. And I'm also on Facebook at Natasha A. Halliday.
Look at that. Okay. And then tell everybody, for you, Sharon D. Brown, how they can stay connected as well.
Yeah, the best way to stay connected with me is on Instagram at I am Sharon D. Brown. And you can also reach me on LinkedIn with Sharon D. Brown, as well as Instagram with Sharon D. Brown. You know, I mean, I'm saying Instagram, but Facebook on Sharon D. Brown. But it does have self-carepreneur, because put it like this, I'm so popular. My name is so popular and I'm so unique, you know. So make sure you look
Kim,
for
right? Kim.
Make sure you look for the self-carepreneurs so that you know you've connected with the right one.
Right. All right. So, y'all, you have it right there. We have comments that's already coming in, and keep your comments flowing in all throughout the broadcast. We will randomly go in and just pop some of those comments up. Mackenzie, if you can, from backstage, and thank you so much for being backstage. If you could pop some of the comments up, we greatly appreciate it right from the beginning here so we can acknowledge who you all are. Let's see. Come at that level of detail. Beautiful, beautiful shortcut, Miss Brown, Sharon D. Brown. I got my glasses on upside down. Let's see. I wish so bad that women cut their hair that way. Just eliminate all the weaves and the wigs and products that are deadly to the hair. So this person is saying, kudos to you for
rocking
very, very short, sleek cut. Yes. Thank you so much for that comment, Red Hunter. We appreciate it. And thank you all for everyone that's in the studio audience. We're going to go ahead and jump into today's topic. How do you go about, hey, Dr. Tina J. Ramsey. Dr. Tina J. Ramsey is with CTR Media Network. Go back to Dr. Tina J. Ramsey for a second. I want to talk about her. For you all that don't know this, Dr. Tina J. Ramsey is with CTR Media Network. She founded this, her and her husband founded CTR Media Network. And what that affords Kim Jacobs Show to do is to stream on Roku and on Amazon TV, Spotify TV, all of these different platforms, over 100 countries, 300-something million households, thanks to Dr. Tina J. Am I pointing to the right thing? Ramsey. So thank you so much for affording us this opportunity. We don't take it for granted, and I love just showing appreciation and gratitude for somebody that makes it happen for other people. Thank you. You all now can watch on Roku this episode. You'll be able to tune in right on Roku. All you have to do is download the CTR Media Network app, and then under the self-improvement section, you'll find the Kim Jacobs Show. Voila. Thank you, Dr. Tina J. Ramsey. All right. All right, what's the next comment? Let's see. Andrea. Hey, Andrea. She said, good morning, ladies. Good morning. Good morning to you. Any other comments? Okay. Listen, we'll come back and we will check some more of your comments out. But right now, we're going to go ahead and hear from our mental health expert, Natasha Halliday. Let's take it away and see what some of your tips are for being able to help us achieve our goals in 2025. How many of you in the audience have goals? Put, I have goals. I got goals. You know, people say I got goals, but that's not grammatically correct. I got some goals. I have goals. Put it over there in the comment section and let's see what you walk away with today. Come on, Natasha.
Hey again. So I got all kinds of ideas, and I noticed when we were putting our points down, there's lots of similarities. Great minds think alike, right? But I wanted to start with setting realistic and achievable goals. Sometimes we are aware of the biggest thing that we want, and so we set a goal forgetting that there's steps to get there. And so we have to look at, part of setting a goal is understanding there's a journey to get to that goal. And so we set the goal according, like we often what I do is I set the short-term and the long-term goals. But even looking at it from what's my macro goal and what are the micro steps? So I need to set goals that are micro, that are realistic and achievable to get me to that macro goal. So being aware of the fact that, one of the ones we start with a lot at the beginning of the year is I'm going to lose weight. It probably doesn't make sense to set a goal of I'm going to lose 50 pounds in a week. That's not realistic and achievable. If you lose 50 pounds in a week, you probably need to be in hospital because I don't even know if that's possible. Right? So it's important to recognize, especially because we often then feel defeated if we don't achieve a goal that we set that's not realistic. And then we end up not continuing to work towards that goal if we set something that's not really attainable. So we really want to set some realistic and achievable goals.
I'm going to do it differently, Natasha, because you're right. All of our points are very similar. Yes. And when we're talking about setting goals, these points are all going to be almost the same, but from a different perspective, meaning that Natasha is sharing it from a mental health perspective. Our sunshine expert that just popped on, and she has, I didn't share your story of what was going on because I never do that. But I thank you so much for being here in this situation because I know you don't have to be here right now. So I just want to say thank you for being here. Athena. Thank you for being here. Can you hear me, Athena?
Hey, good morning. How's everybody doing?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. Thank you for making it happen to be here, Athena.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me always. I know we're talking about how successful to be there in the year 2025 and what goals are we setting for ourselves to be successful moving forward in this year. And here we are. We are 10 days in this new year. So truly excited about that. Always, I'm thanking God just for another amazing year to see things blossom. And so what the Sunshine Expert will share with you is that in setting goals this year, achieving your goals and pursuing your goals, the number one key factor to all of that is you. The person that you need is nobody but you. And of course, for me, because I trust God and doing the purpose and the will of the Lord, steps is honoring him every step that I go. And so if it's only, you're the key ingredient to setting your goals. So when you're setting goals, when you're pursuing your goals, you want to plan, you want to write the vision, make it plain, you want to do a follow.
So I will tell you that Athena will pop in and out throughout the broadcast today because she has an extenuating circumstance. And again, she's a person that does not make excuses. She does everything she can to make results. And so when I see her pop back in, I will pull her back up. Okay. And so she'll just kind of infuse herself throughout today's broadcast. But thank you, Athena, our sunshine expert. So, Natasha, one of the things you were just saying is making sure that we set realistic, achievable goals.
Yes.
And so, from a mental health perspective, I want to hear what your take is on that. And then the same question for you, Sharon, and then I'm going to talk about it too. Just let's deep dive on just setting realistic, achievable goals from a mental health perspective.
So one of the things that comes up for me often when I work as a therapist is that my clients will tell me, I don't really know me. And so when I look at setting realistic and achievable goals, we have to do some soul searching. We have to do some introspection about who am I, because it's tied into setting those realistic and achievable goals. If we are trying to set a goal that we're like, everybody does that, what might be going on with you why you don't fit into that everybody bucket? Right? Or even that might be, maybe you make it a bit more, a bigger goal, maybe because you see you have capacity for something, but knowing yourself, doing that introspection, being honest, it's not easy to look at yourself, right? If we look in that metaphorical mirror, we often don't like everything we see. So sometimes we avoid doing it, but we have to keep looking because one, it helps us see how we really did with goals we've set before. Are we living in line with our values, our purpose, all that kind of stuff? And then when we set goals, all of that stuff brings us back to that alignment, right? If you think about trains coming off track, all that stuff brings us back on track. But I think from a mental health perspective, the thing that I would add about those realistic, achievable goals are they're more realistic and achievable when you practice introspection and you actually know who you are. Not an easy process. You might need to involve somebody else to get some more insight into that, right? But that's, I think, the thing that I see often as a therapist. People tell me all the time, they're like, I don't really know myself. We get caught in the busyness of life, and we don't necessarily stop in all the business to go, let me keep checking, but who am I and where am I in what I wanted to be and what I believe God wants me to be, all those different pieces. So I think that's really important from a mental health perspective, is knowing self, having self-awareness and making that part of how you achieve your goals. Especially because if that self-awareness says, I know I struggle with self-esteem, then how do you adjust your goals accordingly? Because you don't want to decrease your goals because you don't realize that part of what you're struggling with is speaking a story that tells you you can't.
That's good. That's good. Very, very, that's just a lot of depth is what I'll say. That's good information, y'all. I hope you are taking notes in the studio audience and learning how you can apply this to your own personal life. Sharon, what's your take on that? Just setting realistic goals, just that piece.
Yeah, when it comes to setting realistic goals, and it kind of spin off of something that Natasha has said, in the fact, I kind of worded just different, but it really means the same thing as in reflecting. And so one of the things that I have found as a therapist is that people don't sit down, and then they don't sit down long enough to reflect. And so for anyone who's been, following me, I have like the 555 wellness boosters, and one of those is breathing. And so just to be able to sit down to reflect what you want with your vision so that you can get that clarity of it. Because when we're not able to sit down with ourselves, it's kind of like our thoughts and the vision that we have is all over the place. And we're like, oh yeah, this is it. Oh yeah, this is it. But sit down, go in, take that breath, and it's like, what is this for me? What is coming to me? And again, that's what self-care is all about, is doing those things that's necessary to get you towards your goal. Because to be honest, if we can't sit 5 minutes with ourselves, how are we going to really achieve those goals? And then not only that, we need to go back to reflect and look at the goals, or shall I say review the goals as well, because, oh yeah, we'll write them down, but we got to go back to them. And so as you go back, as you continually to say, let me sit here, because it's not all about sitting to be, relaxing. Right. No, it's to train yourself to be able to focus so you can have that clarity.
That's good. That's really great feedback. I'm grateful that you took it from the self-carepreneur perspective. And I'm taking it from the balance doctor perspective. I see somebody said break your goals down into the power of 5. Power, that's what Sharon is saying. She has a whole system that she shares with you when you follow her on social media. So make sure you do that. And Rockin' Curvy says, yes, knowing yourself. I totally agree, is what Rockin' Curvy said. Yes, thank you so much for that comment. I will tell you too, from a balanced doctor perspective, because that's y'all tune into the show all the time, and have plenty of tips. I'm an author of 4. I've either contributed to 3 books that are best-selling books, as well as one that I've written myself. The tips from NBC when I was sharing tips on being their balanced doctor. So one of the things that I suggest is that you have your goals almost in a reverse engineer situation. Look at what the ultimate big picture goal is first. What is the ultimate overarching goal that you're looking to accomplish? Then you have to back step and say, okay, what strategies and tactics am I going to implement in order for me to accomplish that goal? Then back step a little bit further and say, okay, what do I have to do on a day-to-day basis in order for me to reach that ultimate goal that I said I have for 2025? Then you bite-size piece it and start implementing those daily tasks and to-dos to be able to accomplish that big picture goal. It's not just, oh, here's a goal and it's going to happen. It's not just going to happen that way. You have to be able to put some strategies and some tactics and things in place, factors and ideas, and pulling in your mentors and getting feedback and suggestions. You have to get a lot of things in motion in order for you to ultimately reach the goal. So what are some of the goals you all have in the studio audience? We'd love to hear what some of those are. And maybe between these experts on here today, someone may be able to give you a free quick counseling tip. You never know. So take advantage of it, right? All right, point number 2, Natasha, I'll let you lead the point, say it from a mental health perspective, and then we'll chime in with our version of it too.
So my next point is practicing self-compassion. And I think part of that ties into the setting realistic and achievable goals. But self-compassion is really about being able to speak to yourself when things are painful, when things are not going your way. So if you've set a goal and maybe you're not meeting it in the timeline that you wanted to meet it in, right? That might be partly because it wasn't totally realistic, but we also don't know what circumstances will come up. I know COVID got in the way of some of my travel goals, right? I had to practice some self-compassion. And the idea about we're good at offering others compassion, but we sometimes forget to offer that to ourselves. So I often ask people, based on what's uncomfortable here, based on what you don't like, what words do you need to hear? And those could be things like, it's okay that I didn't get here in the time that I wanted to get here, but I'm grateful that I'm still working towards it. I'm grateful that I've taken these steps already, but being intentional to practice that compassion for self, so that when you're moving through the journey that is goal setting and accomplishing goals, that you recognize that it will be bumpy, there will be detours. If we think about cars with GPSs, and it might, it tells you you're going to get there in 20 minutes, and then it changes to 24 minutes, and then it changes to 28 minutes. Practice self-compassion and remind yourself, it never says you're not going to get there. The time might change, but it doesn't say you're not going to get there. So in that self-compassion, add that to it. I might be moving slower than I wanted to. I might have some obstacles I didn't expect, but I'm still on my way and I can still achieve my goal.
That's good. I'm glad. And that gives you that grace within ourselves to say, listen, cut yourself a little bit of slack. Don't beat yourself up so bad. So that's why you're taking it from that mental health perspective. Thank you for that. Because if we could start doing that with ourselves, I think that we could get so much more accomplished. But because we're so hard on ourselves, we don't get a chance to even think like what you're talking about. Everybody don't even think like that. That's why you're here. Thank you. Sharon, talk to us from a self-care perspective on being compassionate, having that compassion.
Yeah, pretty much what I would say from a self-care perspective, I will align that with being authentic and in alignment. Because of the fact it's kind of hard to be compassionate with ourselves if we're not connected with ourselves. So a part of self-care is doing the things that need to be done so that you can like look at your goals and see, are these activities align with my goals? Because sometimes we be so busy of being an entrepreneur and doing all these things, and they're not even related to our vision or our goals. And that's okay. But the thing is, as Natasha said, give yourself compassion. That's to say, if you get off track, when it comes to those things. But the other thing is too, when it comes along with being authentic, and as I continue like my own work within myself, is that in not realizing how much effort and work it takes to be authentic. So what that means is for every experience that you have, whether it's favorable or unfavorable, it is for you. There is something to take away from it. And that's another way of being compassionate for you as well. Because, along the way, there are going to be some detours, there are going to be some things, but you don't have to beat yourself up. So going back to breathing, aligning yourself to take that breath and say, where am I? Give yourself compassion so that you can look to see, have that clarity to say, okay, are these activities or is this experience is in alignment? And let's just say, even if it's not in alignment with your goals, but it could be something that's needed to help you reach your goals.
Good. Okay. Y'all, I'm serious. In the comment section, I'm expecting to see lots of comments out here saying that you are gleaning from today's topic of how to achieve your goals in 2025. Okay, this blazer thing is making me have a hot flash. Sorry, and that's my authentic self. I can't think through it. I'm like, oh God, I'm hot. I gotta take
You look cute, but I can appreciate when sometimes the clothes be they be triggering things.
This is an outdoor outfit, y'all. I ain't even gonna lie to you. Okay, we gotta put this fan on and everything. One of my church members gave me this fan. Thank you, Lord. See, that's my authentic self, right? I don't have to fake it out and act like I'm not hot and be like, oh, but I am not hot. Yeah.
Authenticity is equal to liberty. We are free when we are authentic and we are true to ourselves.
Exactly.
Okay, so I have a take on this as well from being compassionate and about how we are accomplishing our goals. Because I wear a lot of different hats, I intentionally carve out time to volunteer and to work in other capacities to help somebody outside of myself. Other than that, my life really could be consumed with just me and my 5 children, even my son that's transitioned from this earth. It's a lot of things that I still do in his honor to keep his memory alive. So it's a lot of ways that I could always focus on just me and mine, if that makes sense. So having Gabe's Heart Foundation has allowed me the opportunity to help other people, because now we have the opportunity to put defibrillators in public spaces. And so these defibrillators give people a chance to have the paramedics get time to arrive. And so when I go out and do volunteer efforts at the Ronald McDonald House, or I'll go and do something where we do it through our church and do feeding the homeless or getting clothing and giving it to the community, we've partnered with other nonprofit foundations to be able to provide men, women, and children's clothing and shoes, whatever the need is. The point is, I know at the end of the day, when I go to bed, that I've done something for somebody else outside of just myself. And I think that plays a key part in even accomplishing some of our goals that are goals beyond just our business goals or our personal family goals. What are we doing to be compassionate towards somebody else? And the more we do stuff like that, I think the more God opens up the windows of heaven and allows some of our own personal goals to really manifest. That's what I believe as your balance doctor.
I love that, because part of what you're saying is compassion is also being aware of community.
That's good. Yeah. And then I also want to make sure I infuse some of Athena. She is, again, dealing with a situation, but she was fully prepared for today. And I want to make sure that I share some of the thoughts that she shared. She texted over to me. She said that pray and trust God. That's very important. As the sunshine expert, she said we should always pray and we should trust God's direction for our lives. So thank you for that. And she said also make sure we write our goals down and write what your action steps will be. Not just writing them, but what action steps, which goes back to point number one that you were making, Natasha. What are going to be our action steps that we're going to take every day to accomplish the ultimate goal? All right, let's go to your next point, Natasha.
So part of what you were saying ties into that, and I think we've touched on already, but really process versus outcome, being aware of that there's a difference. Sometimes we set a goal, and I tend to use a lot of GPS analogies, so I'm going to use one again. So sometimes we think, I want to go, I don't know, to Florida, and we focus on being in Florida, and so we don't look at the part that takes to get to Florida, and so we are not necessarily enjoying and garnering from the things on the way. But all of that's part of shaping that understanding of who we are. All of that's part of doing all the steps that are needed to be done to accomplish goals. And so it's from a mental health perspective, it really speaks to mindfulness. Because when we talk about mindfulness, we talk about being present in the moment. If I can be present in the process and not just fixated on the outcome, which is achieving the goal, then there's all these beautiful things that I can enjoy, and maybe some of it not enjoyable, but I can be present for it and learn from it and take from it as I get to my goal. Because sometimes when we set goals, we don't realize how much we learn in getting to the goal.
That's good.
And so I think that, like I would say, the big mental health piece is the process is being mindful in the moment and actually remembering that I have to be focused on the process, not just on the outcome.
That's really great. Okay. Being focused on the process, not just the outcome. And what I would say to that is, right in my book, Extreme Balance Makeover, is be here now. If you can be here now in the moment, it makes a tremendous difference in how much you can get accomplished, because you're not all over the place. You're focused on the here and the now. What am I doing right now that I can accomplish my specific goals that I have set? So for me, when I'm thinking from a balance perspective, if I say that this is the project that I'm working on right now, then I designate specific carved out time for that. I have my tools already in place so that when I go to start doing that project, I don't have to then go shopping or go get whatever, because I've already taken a day to do that in preparation for being prepared for the here and now. So important that you have what you need when you start executing on the plan. Very important. All right, let's hear you, Sharon D. Brown.
Yeah. Everything that you both said really encompass like the 555 wellness booster, which is, being present, like being present of where you are, of who you are, and then also to take notice. So meaning along the journey of going to Florida or going to wherever, whatever the vision is, whatever the goal is to take notice of where you are and really your surroundings, as well. And that allow you to enjoy the moment. And then the other thing is to move with intention, because sometimes we be moving, but don't always be moving with intentions. And so
And
that
it's
kind
like you're preaching. Kim and I had like a visceral reaction to intention. We're like, yes,
Yeah, right. We were like, hey,
preach, girl, preach.
Go ahead. This is good.
Yeah, so that goes into what both of you had said, and especially with Kim, it's kind of like having those things in place and have something actionable as well. And so sometimes we forget about that. And that's one of the reasons too that I focus so much on self-care, because self-care is personal development, but it's the steps that we take, let's say, to be courageous. Because people think, oh, I'm just going to show up to be and I'm courageous. No, sometimes they may be, like was said earlier, you may need some self-confidence, but there are things that we have to do in order to be. And so that's the main thing when it comes to all of that. And so self-care is not as hard as some people may think, but we have to, it really comes down to it, the renewing of your mind, and meditate on the word or something day and night. And this is with our intention and with everything else.
Yeah, I love it. I love this. I mean, I love this conversation, and I kind of like how every time we come together, all of our thoughts are very similar, but from a different spin.
Mm.
And so I like how we're having this dialogue today. Do you all like this? You like this way that we're doing it back and forth?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
oh, yeah, yeah.
For a second, I thought you were asking the audience, and I'm like, but the audience, she can't hear the audience. You have to wait till it comes up. So I was pausing to, and I was like, who am I waiting to hear, Natalia?
Who
Like,
we waiting to exist?
you
Kim
talking
okay
to
over there?
her?
You know, when we're intentional, again, a lot of times you hear the quotes that say what you focus on, that's what grows. And so if we're focusing on reaching our goals and attaining our goals throughout 2025, then we're going to start seeing some of those goals become a reality. And yes, we should dream. We should all dream, because I have a mother dreamer movement. So we should definitely have our dreams, but we should also wake up and start living those dreams and being intentional about making them a reality. And so when I think from the perspective of the word of God, it's like if we ask, we can receive, but we need to know, what are we asking about? We can't just ask and just be vague. Oh, bless me, Lord. Bless me how? What how do you want me to bless you? You need to be a little more specific about how you want me to be a blessing in your life, so that I can know how to make your own desires a reality. So sometimes we ask too vague. We're too aloof. We don't get what we want because we're not being specific. Okay, go ahead, Natasha. Next point.
My next point is focus on growth and not lack. I one of the things I see all the time, especially working as a therapist, is focusing on lack. It's almost impossible to not feel pain if we are thinking about what we think we don't have. And while our goals might be spurned by adding to our lives the things we don't have, or enhancing something, if we focus on the lack, it's almost like trying to walk forward but keeping your head turned to the back. You're going to bump into things, you're going to trip on things, it's going to hurt you, it's not going to work. So we want to focus on the aspect of what's the better to come, what's the growth part of that goal that you're setting, right? I to start the year, I set out monthly goals for my business. And yes, some of it's based on some of the things that didn't happen before, but the big part of my focus is on where do I want it to go?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm focused on the growth of my business, the growth of my of the way that I facilitate my business. And I'm not focusing on what didn't work, what I don't have, because that stuff is just going to weigh me down. And I don't know how to be in a good mood when I'm focused on lack. I don't know about y'all, but if I'm focused on lack, it always makes me feel bad. So I really want to have people thinking about, where's your focus in this process? And even in that because we've talked about the journey, in the process, continuing to focus on the growth.
Good. Yes. So focus on what you desire the outcome to be versus it being what you currently are lacking as you're moving towards your goal being accomplished. This is good. Good. All right. That's one of those like stick my tongue out moments, like, what? Reach over there, Natasha. All right, Sharon, tell us your perspective on focusing on growth, not lack.
Yeah, first of all, I really love that, because Natasha is definitely right. A lot of times we end up focusing on what we don't have or what has gone wrong. And so, along with that, when it comes to the 555 Wellness Boosters, one of the framework is be you. And so, when you're focusing on being you, you're focusing on your strength and your unique approach to challenges, because we, unfortunately, we can't leave this earth with no challenges. You know what I'm saying? So we might as well just say, hey, how can I approach this? What is unique about me that I can see, and that I can go about this? And one thing that I can say is, like, for me, I can look at the bigger picture, and then, like, when it comes to others, I can see others' strength. Like, they can tell me the worst thing possible, and I'm looking at, oh my gosh, look at all the things that they have done.
Right,
you know?
right. But there's like, oh, what doesn't match?
I know. And then kind of going back to what Natasha was saying, they don't see their strength. They don't see their growth. They can, and which I understand, it, especially, as a therapist, because of the impact that it has and what it may be. But that's the thing about having someone else to talk to, even to vent to, or to explore things with, because sometimes we may not be able to toot our own horn at times. And that's something else to remember when it comes to our strengths, and looking at things, from that perspective.
Good. Very, very good. Focusing on growth, not lack. And so I'm enjoying how we're having this conversation. When I think about focusing on growth and not lack, you have to, again, have that end goal of what you're looking to have happen, but understanding that in that process that Natasha was talking about, there are going to be some things that come along the way that make it look like we're nowhere near achieving our goals, that we are off kilter. What kind of balance doctor is that over there? She says she's the balance doctor and she's going through. We are all going to go through some trials and tribulations. And because I'm a new pastor as well, I really want to make it clear that Jesus, in my opinion, died for my sins. And so who am I to complain about what I have to go through when I didn't bear the whole sins of the whole world? Okay. So for me, it's like, Kim, your afflictions, boo-boo, girl, you'll be all right. You have not resisted unto blood, have you? Okay. So when I think about the word of God that I live my life by and govern my life according to that, it lets me put it in perspective. So I think when we think about process and growth, we need to put it into its right perspective. Some things are going to happen that are beyond our control. Okay. What are we going to do to get back on course and to get back on track and just keep it moving according to still letting God's light shine through us? Very important to me that I let my light shine bright like a city that sits up on a hill. And how can I do that? I can do it because I'm more than a conqueror and that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So nothing that I believe that is too difficult for me to accomplish. My only barrier is myself. That's what I believe as your balance doctor. All right, point number whatever. And now I don't know what point we on, but just say something.
I think we're on 5.
Okay.
The next point is build a support system, and that's twofold. Part of the support system is so I have this thing that I always give this people visuals when I talk to them in therapy about when you have a new building, they put scaffolding up around the building to support the structure. But when it's under construction, you need scaffolding again. So if they have to do repair, your support system to me is like the scaffolding of the building. Who are the people who help hold you up when you feel like you might topple over? So when you're maybe feeling a little worn out because you're struggling to achieve your goals, or who are those people who help you stay in line with what your goals are? One of the things that I started doing in 2024 was an accountability call where I meet with 3 other women online, and we literally 5 minutes in, we set a timer for 50 minutes, and we actually mute ourselves and do work. I started with 1. I'm in 3 accountability calls, and I'm so much more productive because I have supports where I'm setting aside time to do the work that I need to do. So it's not just it's a thought in my head. It's not theoretical now. Now there's practical application of where's the time set aside to work on the goals. I get to bounce ideas off of people who are like-minded also to help get ideas. But I think your support system can be both that accountability, but also if you're having a rougher moment, who are those people that act as scaffolding in your life and might hold you up when you start to feel like you might topple over, when you're under repair, right? Like when there are things going on where you need extra support. Thinking about being intentional to have those people in your life. And that's both the people who reach out to you to be those people, but we also have to reach out to people to be those people in our life. It's okay to ask for help.
Okay, Sharon.
Oh, my. I really do love that. Oh, I love that so much, because the thing is, sometimes, especially when we're trying to achieve a goal or just in life, sometimes it can feel really lonely. And so it is good to be able to have a support system and to be able to identify all of those things. But in saying that, the key is to identify that you need support, because sometimes we wait too long to get the support. So part of your goal setting is to make that part of it initially as well. Even though you may say, oh, I'm good, because, in the beginning of any goal, especially at the beginning of the year, you have all the energy and everything that you need. But somewhere along the way, especially when those detours tend to set in, but even without the detours, we can detour ourselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so even if you have a accountability partner, accountability group, because community is really so important as well. Like, even though I talk a lot about self-care, all of that is needed too. But we have to take care of ourselves in order to be in the community as well. Because if we're not, in a good space, to be honest, sometimes in being in community can either build us up or tear us down. So it's really important to be clear of what type of community that you want to be a part of. But then also, I like to add the word when it comes to like-minded people. I like to say diverse like-minded people, because of the fact we do want people who have similar thoughts, but we also want them to be a little different so we can have different perspective from the like-mindedness as well. And so I just wanted to kind of add that in it as well. But yeah, all of this is just a wonderful
Isn't
conversation.
it awesome? Like, I know personally that I'm going to go back and watch this and take some more notes personally. So, and I'm a part of a lot of different groups and communities and things. It's a beautiful feeling when you know that your platform is a platform that you can also learn from and glean from and apply to your own life. So thank you all for being my experts here on the Kim Jacobs Show. I love this so much. This has taken me in so many different directions. But one thing I've been recently doing is a program that's teaching people how to start their own show from scratch. And so, Sharon, you know oh so well how that works because you've been through the training, and you're making me a proud parent over here, girl. Do you feel like you grew through the program?
Oh, yes, most definitely.
Oh my God. Okay. So anyway, we do a 6-week training. I'm gonna pop it up here because I want y'all to know what it made me think of this because of what you said, Natasha. And we're starting our next training in 2 weeks. So right now we have 2 seats still left. We only take 5 students. I only take 5 students in the class so I can really give you all undivided attention. It's a virtual program for 6 weeks teaching you how to start your own show from scratch. And it's universal. So you'll get a chance to know how to do it from an audio perspective, from a video perspective, and from a network ready perspective, because then I connect you to the context that I have for you to be able to be even on the television network pieces. Okay. So if you are an entrepreneur, you are a business owner, you are a motivational speaker, an author, or a person, if you're a person, okay, here's the deal. God has given you some gifts and talents that the whole world is missing out if you're not using them. I cannot bring to the world what you're supposed to bring. So through a show, you get a chance to have a one-stop shop for people to come to where you are and learn about whatever it is that God has given you as your gift to the world. You all don't want to miss this opportunity to be a part of this training. So 2 of you, go ahead and reach out and say, I want in. And I'll make sure I send you the information to be a part of the 5 students that we're starting with in 2 weeks. Okay. And that you can email kim@thebalancedoctor.tv or call or text 704-962-7161. The reason I'm showing you that is because you said, Natasha, something that was key. When we do this training, we do it in working sessions right then on the spot. I'm helping you create the show. We're role playing. We're learning. We're joining the groups that you need to join. Whatever templates you need, I'm giving them to you in some janky form for you to cut and paste and edit. It's a working session. Working sessions are so critically important, everyone. So don't take it for granted that when you carve out that time to get your projects done for achieving your goals, set a timer, as Natasha said. Have an accountability partner. We're on the screen, but we're not talking. Get your work done, girl. That's all I'm here for. I don't know what to tell you. Get started. Have a time that you're putting do not disturb on your phone or focus. where it says from this time to this time is do not disturb, but make it where your emergency contacts can still get through. I never have my phone where my children, my mom can't get me. My bestie is people that can get me no matter what's going on. And that's intentional, going back to what you said, Sharon. So there are ways to you achieving your goals in 2025 if you implement anything that any of us have shared. All of your excuses, I promise you, will be gone and you will be seeing some results. Natasha, next point.
All right. So prioritizing mental health. Shocking, the mental health expert says prioritizing mental health. And, I think what we started talking about in terms of knowing yourself and that being in line with yourself is part of how you prioritize your mental health, because you've got to know, am I a person who's more prone to becoming anxious? Am I a person who's more prone to becoming, I don't know, angry? What's happening within your mental status that you have to be aware of? And as you learn more about yourself, you learn about the things that trigger. So this is my new term, because I always have some kind of analogy. So y'all got some GPS already. You got my scaffolding. My new thing is all about what I like to be called being emotionally inflamed. We know what inflammation does within our bodies. What happens when we're inflamed in our emotions? If we understand that we're more sensitive, all these different things happen. So how do we decrease the inflammation in our emotions as part of how we prioritize our mental health? Don't get on every website, every page, every social media site that's going to do the things that aggravate that thing in you, that's going to make it harder for you to do. I don't know how many clients I get on in a session with, and they're like, it feels like if they want to be married, everybody on Instagram is posting about getting married. And I'm like, there's a simple solution: get off Instagram for a little bit. Like, but what are we doing to prioritize our mental health? I'll be honest. My biggest thing that I do against my mental health is I go to bed too late. I don't get enough sleep. And then I wonder why I'm dragging and kicking my feet the next day. Well, because you didn't go to bed early enough.
Yep. There you
right? You decided to watch one more episode of, nonsense. Because I can't say anything. I'm not watching the things that are enriching my soul, spirit, body when I'm watching TV late at night. That is not the thought-provoking, making me more educated stuff that I'm watching.
Right.
So I can definitely forfeit that stuff. So for me, that's one of the things that I do that's not prioritizing my mental health. But being aware of that. What are we doing in our physicality? So how we eat. Are we drinking enough water? Because how we physically feel definitely affects our mental health. Are we engaging with the people who talk down to us and pouring energy into people who are going to make us feel bad? I talked about not focusing on lack. That's a way to prioritize your mental health, is by redirecting your focus and recognizing what's happening in my thought process that's causing me to not feel peace, feel joy, feel whatever that is good for my mental health. So it's really important to prioritize. And I think it would be just like some people have workout routines, they have medication and vitamin routines. Some people will cook on a Saturday and meal plan and they set it out. Why aren't we creating plans for our mental health?
That's good.
Why are we not putting our mental health on the list of things that we say we need to make sure, understanding it's a facet of who we are. If we created a wheel and carved out parts of the wheel, our mental health should be part of that pie. And we should be doing things to make sure that we speak to that part of us. So, and again, that might be different for different people, but that again takes that introspection. You have to know yourself. But it's really, really important to prioritize your mental health, because sometimes even in trying to accomplish goals, I know I've done it where I'm leaving my home office at 11 o'clock at night because I tell myself, just do a bit more, just do a bit more. Most of the time, I don't find that I've ever accomplished more by staying on my computer that late. Mm-hmm. And then what I've done is I've stayed up late. I've had my brain activated in a certain way too late, and I'm not doing what I need to do for my overall well-being. And so it's really important that we do those honest checks with ourselves and see, is this something that's good for my mental health? This is not. I'm a therapist, and I used to work. One of the jobs I had was as a crisis worker. So I was in the emergency department doing crisis assessments on people who came in crisis on their own, were brought in by police, brought in by their schools if they were younger. And all day long, I heard about people's worst stories. So part of my priority to my mental health was I had to stop watching the news. Because I couldn't go home after 8-10 hours of it and then get more of it. So I had to do that as a way to prioritize my mental health. You have to know what for you is going to be part of you maintaining your mental health. So I think that's really important that as you work on your goals, you don't sacrifice your mental health to try to accomplish it.
That's good. Oh my gosh. Do not sacrifice your mental health. Sharon, do you have any comments to what she's saying?
Oh yeah, again, everything she said, oh my. As they say, all of our thoughts are just in alignment with each other. So thank you, thank you, thank you for this, Natasha and Kim as well. And what I want to say about that, prioritizing mental health is self-care. That's what self-care is. You learning about yourself. And I wish that even though we're all doing it, but I wish there were more of us. You know what I'm saying? I don't think there would ever be enough. And so, in saying that, self care is getting to know you, getting to know what activates you. I like to use the word activate instead of triggers. But know what activates you. And then even when you come with the word activate, it can be something that's positive and it can be something that may take you in the other direction. But either way, it's about you learning you. And this is where again the 555 wellness boosters come into play, because the thing is, just as a side note, whatever we focus on, and it also activates certain chemicals and certain things and certain thought process. So if we're like working and not taking any breaks at all, and then it's almost like it becomes a high to a certain extent. And it is kind of hard for us to even turn our own selves off.
That's right.
So, in saying that, this is why it's important for you to integrate, even if it's just like some type of wellness boosters. Even though, like with the 555 wellness booster, I say like it's for 5 minutes. Sometimes you may not have 5 minutes to break, but if you have like a mantra or an affirmation or something that you can say to yourself to remind you like of you or whatever that may be, say it 5 times to kind of help break up. And there's some other things that kind of go along with that, because I know like for me, I would say one of the things that I'm working on is my preference is to be able to work, but I need to be able to adjust. So that's the other reason why I continually to practice the 555 wellness boosters for myself. Because why? When it comes to life doesn't give us a break. And so this is another reason, if we're putting into practice of getting distracted, of having interference, that if we're practicing ourselves, when those things come unwelcome in life, I'm not saying it's easier, but maybe it won't be as hard.
That's good. Okay.
Because we're in the practice of kind of putting our attention in something else, but then we can go back to it.
That's good. Very, very good. Okay. So we are down to the wire here on our show, and we're going to take 2 more minutes. We went live 58 minutes ago, so we're going to take 2 more minutes here. I want to invite you to have the opportunity to partner with the Kim Jacobs Show. If you have not partnered with us yet, please take a moment and pour into the broadcast. This is the only way that we are able to bring these fantastic guests to you. We don't charge any of our guests to be on the show, and the programming, the subscriptions, all of the plans and things that we have to do to even keep the streaming platforms alive. We need your community support and contributions. No dollar amount is too low. So Cash App to $ Kim Jacobs Inc. PayPal, you can use paypal.me/Kim Jacobs Inc. Even Venmo at the Kim Jacobs Show, or you can Zelle. We received a Zelle yesterday from Cynthia Long. Thank you so much. Mercy Collins, we received your Cash App. We received your Patreon membership. Allison, Ella, Frank, Sean, Lisa Thomas, thank you so much. Joy Restored Outreach, thank you. Brian and Summer Smith, Paolo Parent, and Martine, and different ones of you all. We like to send shout outs and say thank you for supporting our program Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Take a moment and pour into our broadcast. I do want to say these final comments from Athena because she took the time to type them. Follow up after setting your deadlines. Celebrate your victories. And those are her takeaways for any things that will make you closer to achieving your goals in 2025. We have one more minute left here, and we had lots of comments that came in from Watchman Marie Williams. This is a good topic that's helpful for the goals I'm setting in my life, taking it all in and applying it to my life. Let's see. Watchman says your atmosphere, environment, and what you focus on play a great part of our mental health, who we connect with, and how we monitor ourselves in self-care. And another comment that she said is sometimes we give ourselves away to others and forget that we need to give ourselves self-care. I did see a comment earlier about friends, family members, and how you can have your mentors be aware of your goals, sharing those goals with them so that they help you be accountable, and getting feedback on your progress, celebrating your success can significantly increase your chances of reaching your desired outcome. I see you, Judy, as well. And Judy says, let's put that comment, Mackenzie. Hello, everyone. I have 2 accountability collaborators. Congratulations to you, Judy, for doing that. And we are overcomers. Faith works together and determination. Y'all are amazing, studio audience. Thank y'all for taking the time to type at that level. We do not take it for granted. Thank you, Natasha. Closing comment.
Closing comment. When we think about setting our goals, I would go back to the idea of a GPS. When we set our goals, sometimes we think it's like we set the GPS, we get there, and then we think you don't move into the place that you go. So there's going to be new goals. You're going to continue to set goals, but understanding that's part of the overall picture of the journey of life, and accepting that we spend more time in journey than we do in destination, and hopefully giving yourself grace for that.
Woo, woo, y'all follow the GPS, but don't let it take you off a cliff, because there are some stories out there that the GPS actually took you off the cliff and the people died, and that is cray. You don't have to go and follow the GPS to the point where we don't use our God-given wisdom to say, okay, the GPS is telling me to fall off of a cliff, right? Obviously, sometimes we get so dependent on GPS that it can take us into a deep dive that we never expected. So don't let it take you over a cliff. And obviously, in that situation, I need to correct myself because I don't want to say this later. That person in that group clearly did not know that, because that's been the same route that they've gone many years, and the GPS did give them direction that there was a road, but some road construction was happening. So that was a very unfortunate situation in that situation. So follow the GPS, but open your eyes and see what God really has in store for your life. Karen, closing comment.
Yeah, pretty much what I like to say is when it comes to our goals and our vision is to make sure that we are really sitting with ourselves so we can be authentic and in alignment with those goals. And do that often, because again, there can be some detours, but when you really sit with yourself, and this is where that breathing comes into play, it reminds you of who you are and whether or not if something is in alignment with your goals and your vision.
To God be the glory. Next week, y'all, we have a great lineup, defying all the odds. We have people that are going to be coming on, sharing their stories, and they are some dynamic warriors that will be on all next week. So you don't want to miss not one episode of the Kim Jacobs Show, Monday through Friday of next week. Actually, Dr. Marcia Austin, we're going to have an in-person episode at the Brownstone Signature Events location where we have our church service on Wednesday at 11 o'clock a.m. She will be in person with me at that location. And my final comment for tonight is deepest condolences and prayers to Mother Patricia D. Lofton. Her husband, Deacon Archie Lofton, transitioned to be with the Lord. And we want her entire family, our jurisdiction, North Carolina 2nd Jurisdiction of the Church of God in Christ. She's our state supervisor of women, her husband, has earned his wings to be with the Lord permanently. So we celebrate his life coming up on Friday, and that's going to be January 17th in Bergar, North Carolina. We have our deepest condolences and prayers, Mother Patricia D. Lofton. That's our episode, everybody. I love you all. See you next week, Monday through Friday. Love you. Go ahead and take us away, Mackenzie. Thank you for all your comments.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show and for being in the virtual studio audience. Your presence truly does make a difference, and I look forward to you bringing your friends and family to join you in the virtual studio audience Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I look forward to seeing you and make it a great day.